All right, welcome back to the show, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging. What the heck is today? Today is Monday. And what else is new? What else we got going on? A bunch of crazy stuff. But I tell you what I did do is I got a garden, right? And I'm not I don't do a lot of tilling, but I do it once in the fall after I weed and I pull everything out. I have this like little tiller and I'll go and just like churn up the top coat. And I know that kind of breaks up a lot of the mycelium and all the yada 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 in the soil. But I have this little junky tiller that I bought from like I don't even know where. It's like the little engine that it could, or the and but it's great and it gets the job done. And I did that yesterday. And what I'm getting at is it's almost Thanksgiving, and that's kind of like when I the rule of thumb for planting your garlic seed. So I'm gonna be planting the garlic probably next week. I'm gonna do it. And I have, I think, about 250 seed, and the seed is each individual little clove. You could plant that in the ground, and it comes up and becomes a full bulb. Okay, it's wonderful, and what's cool about it is you have to plant the garlic in the fall, and it needs to go out, be planted underground and go over the winter. It needs to interact with that cold. Something magical happens in the garlic, alien intelligence that it is, and it and then it comes up in the spring. It's one of the first things that comes up, and it's just a delight. But yeah, we got some new genetics that I ordered online, which is great. Bonnie, my dog, she stinks like hell. I don't know if she like found like a dead animal and like ate it, like chewed on its face or something, but her breath smells like she's fucked. Her face was in something fucked. So she's outside laying in the sun, little Bonnie girl, but she smells like a dead horse. So we're gonna have to wash her. Oh, we're gonna have to wash Bonnie down. And I like it. I like giving the dog the bath, get her all nice and clean. I even put my fancy conditioner on her and get her smelling all nice and soft. And then when she gets out, she's a good girl. I will dry her off with a towel, and then she goes and runs around. The dogs, they get all fired up after you give them a bath. And what is that? I think they're just excited. It feels good. They're glad to be out of the bath, I'm assuming. But they get the people. I didn't grow up saying this, but apparently it's a big thing. Is like, oh, the dog gets the zoomies, the fucking zoomies. But the dog, yeah, gets the zoomies after you give it a bath. And yeah, Bonnie gets all fired up. She gets excited. So tonight, me and the boys will get. Well, who am I kidding? It's just gonna be me. No one else freaking does it. Oh, everyone loves the dog until she rolls in freaking cow shit. And, oh, don't worry, Daddy will clean it up. Oh, raccoon got in the garbage can. Oh, that stinks. Daddy will clean it up. Old ding dong Daddy himself. But anyway, enough about me. Let's get into our next guest today. But before we do that, I like to we got a couple calls today. A couple calls came in, and I'm going to try to give some of my expert advice, a little bit of my 2 pennies, a little bit of my love. So next call is Mike from Connecticut. Oh boy, Mike from Connecticut. Loving all these call-ins. Another recording.
What's up, Brad? This is Mike from Connecticut. You're a pretty famous guy these days. Just wondering how you feel about people coming up to you, wanting a picture, saying hi, saying they're a fan. I might have come up to you a couple years ago at a restaurant, and I've been feeling bad that I might have interrupted your meal. So just wanted to see how you felt about that. Thanks, bud.
Oh, no worries at all, man. And thanks for. I'm glad you did come up and say hi. I'm sure it wasn't a problem at all. But no, I like it, man. It doesn't bother me at all. Only every now and then you get someone who's kind of obnoxious, but it's only happened like once or twice. But other than that, no, I'm just stoked people like just are want to say hi, that like the show, have been fans of the YouTube stuff and all the good times had. So I'm always just super grateful that someone cares enough to come and say hello. So if you're listening, and to anyone out there, and especially you, Mike, you no worries, buddy. Say hi again, and anyone else out there, just don't be weird. Don't try to like touch my mouth or something, unless I like really seem like I'm into it. All right, Mike. Thanks for calling in, and love you, bud. And Yeah, thanks for the calls this week, guys, and keep them coming. Send them on into layitonbradleone@gmail.com. That's lay it on Brad Leone, Leone, at gmail.com. Send me your questions, voice, video, written if you have to. And I'll get back to you. And I love it. I absolutely love it. I wish I just did that for an hour because it's like my favorite thing. But whatever. My next favorite thing is talking to real people live. And our next guest today, we got a pretty cool one coming from a different genre than this is a first. All right. Maybe you know him from being a powerhouse, the WWE. And also back in 2011 when he took first for America in the Arnold Strongman Classic. All right, competition strongman. He's a tough guy. He's a bad boy. And now he's the host of a new show called Everything on the Menu. Let's give a nice warm welcome for Braun Strowman, a.k.a. Adam Scherr. Adam, welcome to the show, man.
Awesome. Thanks for having me. Sorry about the technical difficulties. As I said, I'm larger than nature intended. It's not intended for using text. So I'm trying to figure it out as we go on all this new adventures in life.
Yeah, no worries at all, man. It's if that's the least of our problems today, we'll be all right. But yeah, so Adam, man, as a lot of folks might know you as so it was just the wrestling name was Braun Strowman, right?
Correct. Yeah, when I time with WWE as being a WWE superstar, that I was Braun Strowman on television, the monster of all monsters, the monsters among men, the new face of destruction. There was all kinds of different monikers that came in the decade of, putting these hands on poor souls in that squared circle.
Oh my God! But before we go, I want to ask you about wrestling and stuff like that. But I also wanted to just back up a little bit because is it something that you were born into a little bit, or where did you grow up, Adam?
So I grew up on Lake Norman in Sherrills Ford, North Carolina, a little town, about 45 minutes northwestish of Charlotte. And as a kid, what little boy at some point in his life didn't watch wrestling, go, oh my God, I want to be a professional wrestler when I grow up. Well, for me, we didn't have a whole lot. My dad played professional slow pitch softball back in the 70s and 80s when it was like popular. It's still popular to me and my family, but some people say slow pitch softball and whatever. But no, so we were always traveling around the country, and then I grew up in the back of a minivan. I grew up on an airplane traveling around, so we were in a different state every weekend for them to play tournaments and ball like that and stuff. And then growing up, I played some sports through high school and did wrestling, track and field, football. Ended up playing semi-professional football for 4 years after high school because I was a peckerhead and didn't do my grade work when I was in school, so I didn't meet NCAA requirements, even though I got recruited by all at the top big college and stuff because I graduated high school at 17. I was 6'5". I'm at 305 pounds at 17. I did the NFL Scout Combine in 2007, I believe it was the year, and that was the year that Jake Long went number 1 draft pick to the Miami Dolphins as the offensive lineman, and I outperformed him at the combine, but I didn't have the college experience or the pedigree in that family name. I ran a 4.89 40 at 322 pounds. I had a 31.5-inch vertical. I bench pressed 225 38 times. And then, it just didn't work out that way for me for football. I had some arena offers and things, but nobody would really give me a shot because I didn't have that college experience and stuff like that. So, I ventured out and started trying to figure out what else I wanted to do, all while I was a mechanic. So I've technically had 3 careers my entire life. I was a mechanic for 11 years of my life. I was a WWE superstar for 12 years of my life. And now I travel around the country eating everything on the menu. So it's been pretty cool, the transitions through life and all these trials and tribulations and things that I've gone through to get here, because it sure as hell wasn't an easy process. I grew up a chubby little fat kid being bullied and, ADHD before they knew what ADHD was and stuff, and hyper and rambunctious, and having teachers and peers and, classmates telling me I was stupid and was never going to amount to anything and stuff like that. And boy, it sure has been cool to kind of proverbially feed them a giant bowl of crow for all that stuff growing up. And then I started competing in World's Strongest Man competitions. So I was working in nightclubs down in Charlotte, North Carolina, trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I was done playing football, stuff phasing out in that age of playing semi-pro football, and there was no money in it and things like that. It was fun, but it was just like the risk to reward ratio was starting to get too much. So I was like, okay, what's next? So I'm doing security, and met some guys at a bar that worked below me downtown Charlotte, and they invited me out to try strongman because I'd always watched it on television. I never really knew how to get involved in it, so
And
got an
what,
opportunity.
Adam, at this point, what are you like, early 20s or?
Yep, early 20s at this point. Yeah, yeah. So got invited out for that, trained a couple times and realized I was pretty good at it. Trained for a week, did my first strongman competition, the Beast of the East in Columbia, South Carolina, won my very first strongman competition that I ever did. And that was kind of what really, for me, I was this shy, timid kid, like with growing up, having people telling me I'm not going to amount to anything. And those thoughts weighing on me. This was the first time in my life that I was really, really successful at something, and not in a team sport, in my own thing. I kind of like realized like, oh man, like these people are wrong. So it was neat to like lean into that and then go in this crazy terror that I went through the strongman competition. I'm the fastest American to ever start and turn professional in the sport. I competed for less than 2 years and won my pro card. I won every amateur competition that I did except one. 2011, I was North America's strongest man. In 2012, I won the Arnold Amateur World Championship strongman at the Arnold Classic. And in 2013, WWE signed me. So they had seen me. Mark Henry and I got to be close friends because he competed. He won the inaugural Arnold Classic in, it was 2001, I think was the first year that came. Sorry, Mark, I'm aging us all right now. But he saw me and realized that I was more than, the fee, fi, fo, fum giants that pick things up and put them down. I enjoyed entertaining the crowd. I was ripping my shirts off, doing the Hulk Hogan stuff, all this whatnot, throwing my clothes in the crowd. And that's something that stuck out. And he put his name on the line for me. He bought me a plane ticket, flew me down to Florida and was like, hey, like, we want to have a tryout with WWE. So he picked me up from the airport, did all this stuff. And lo and behold, they liked what they saw. They offered me a contract in 2013. And at the time, I was in between jobs trying to do strongman. I was living in Florida at the time. Things fell through, and I was bored, pretty much homeless. I was bouncing around people's bedrooms at spare bedrooms, sleeping on couches, sleeping in my car, and then got this opportunity to come back to Florida with WWE. Well, I packed everything I owned in a Kia Soul at $150 cash in my pocket, like 30 grand in credit card debt, and a hell of a dream. And then things got messed up, countersigning my contract when I came down due to the 4th of July weekend. So I ended up not getting paid for almost the first 3 weeks of living in Florida, but so blessed that I had friends down here that let me stay in one of their spare bedrooms and stuff. And that's one of my big messages that I like to talk about in life is there's no such thing as a self-made man or a self-made woman. Everyone's had a hand along the way, and it's whether you have the humility to realize it or not. And there's so many people that have pulled me through the mud to get to where I am at this point in my life. And it's so great to be able now to give back and see how excited they are with all these different adventures and avenues that I've been blessed to, walk down in life. And I turn around and constantly go, I'm not here without you. So that's one of my big things is giving back, especially with how blessed my career was with, working for WWE for 12 years. I got to travel the world on another man's dime. I got to see all the different walks of life. I've main evented every big building on this earth. I've sold out every building on this earth. I've main evented every pay-per-view. I won every title in WWE except one. I got to wrestle all my heroes and, all the legends that I watched growing up. I beat Goldberg at WrestleMania for the Universal Championship in 2020. I've wrestled The Undertaker. I've chugged beers in the ring, Madison Square Garden with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I beat up the boss's son at WrestleMania, and it's just, man, it's really cool. Yeah. The thinking about it, because it was so busy. Like 10 years of my life went by like this. We're living out of a suitcase. You're traveling 700,000 miles a year on airplanes. We're driving 100,000 miles in the cars, and you see a lot of buildings and gyms and things like that. But it's nice now that I have a little bit of a break, taking my time away from WWE to really stop and smell the proverbial roses, and understand like, holy shit. Like,
Yeah.
I did a lot of stuff in a decade.
Unpack it a little bit,
Yeah. Cause you're just so go that you don't really realize it's just what's next. You get in this mode and it's terrible. And there's a lot of, things and people that end up that way where it's just, you're just what's next. You turn it into a job and then stop to realize like, holy cow, this has been an amazing quarter of my life.
Goldberg. I remember Goldberg when I was younger too, watching him on TV, and What he did, like like speared people, right? That was his thing.
Speared and jackhammered.
And
Yeah,
then,
he speared me. He speared me right. Like he came out of the gate and hit me with something and speared me. He knocked the wind right out of me, right off the rip. And then tried to pick me up from the jackhammer, but he didn't have it in, and he's a little too old. I think he bit off more than he could chew with this young bull when he got in the ring. And I hit it with a handful of power slams, 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring, and new Universal Champion.
Man, I want to ask a little bit about the wrestling too, because like people always say wrestling's fake or whatever. Like
Yeah, tell my back and my feet and my teeth and the metal plate in my neck and the screws in my neck and my elbows and everything else.
That's what I wanted to pick your brain about. I mean, like you got some of the biggest guys, strongest guys, people for that matter in the world, and like doing acrobatic stuff, jumping off of like rings, and even if you're not landing on, I wouldn't want to do that now with no one there, let alone like with someone, like even if you were like synchronized and like doing a routine of certain movements, like it does seem like people are getting hurt. Like
it's when you get slammed or it's called taking a bump, and like the human body is not made to do that. It's literally like being in a car accident every time you get slammed, and then add gravity on top of 350 pounds. The heaviest I was in the ring at one point was 405 pounds and stuff. And for me, I like to think I kind of changed what it meant to be the big man in the business with my athletic background, my strength background. I moved and did things that guys my size aren't supposed to do. Like I might could still if I practiced, but I used to do kip ups off my back. I went frog splashes off the top rope. I never did a moonsault in the ring, but I could do moonsaults easily, standing backflips. I used to be able to do on the beach when I was younger at 6'5" and 290.
Wow.
Stuff like that. So for me, it was really neat because the evolution of the business and what I watched from, like Andre the Giant and these giants, and then carrying that legacy on and having that proverbial torch passed to me to represent the big man. Because if you look at the landscape of wrestling now, we're going extinct. There are no giants. There's only a handful of larger than life characters still left in wrestling. And that's what made me fall in love with wrestling, with these characters that you can't see every day walking down the street. And there's nothing wrong with a lot of the guys and girls that are there doing it now, but I see father you every time I go to the gym. When I was a kid, you see Andre the Giant, you see the Undertaker, you see Hulk Hogan, you see Kane, you see Mark Henry, you see guys like this, and you don't see human beings walking around like that every day. So there's that thing that we call in our business called the ick factor or the airport test. My whole life, I've been passing this with flying colors. There is nowhere on earth that, especially now, there's nowhere on earth I go anywhere that people don't know who I am. But the cool thing before was like, people didn't know who I am, but they wanted to. So I walk into a room, I'm 6'8", probably 340-ish pounds, 340 pounds at 12% body fat. So you don't see a lot of humans like that. And for me, that's what made WWE and sports entertainment. And it's hard to kind of watch seeing that die out, because like with WWE right now, there's only one monster left there, and that's Giant Omos. And you talk about gigantic, and one of the largest human beings I've ever seen. He's 7'4" and like 420 pounds. From Nigeria, he is freaking gigantic. But I whipped his ass in Saudi Arabia in 2022 or 2023.
Now, are the outcomes predetermined?
Yes and no.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I tell everybody, you don't ask David Copperfield how he makes the Statue of Liberty disappear. You just enjoy the process.
That's right.
Enjoy the show. Like I said, there's the fans that like to try and push the fourth wall and try and figure out. And that's the fun side of like the really call them the smart marks. And they'll get mad when they see this, but it's the smart fans, the ones that overthink everything and they try to, figure out what we're doing before we do it. And it's really hard to do that in the business because the fans are so educated and they are so smart about it. And they pay so much close attention to it and stuff like that. So it's really hard to pull the wool over the fans' eyes these days because they know what's going on. They know everything. And then sometimes, in my opinion, the writer gets a little lazy, and then it makes it even easier for them to foreshadow what's going on and stuff. So for me, when I debuted, they did such an amazing job. When I debuted on TV, no one knew who I was. One, I'd only had 4 wrestling matches my entire life. They took me to the deep end of the pool and kicked me in the ass and said, "Sink or swim, kid." And well, I doggy paddled, and then I learned how to swim. And then by the end of it, I was borderline walking on top of the water and stuff like that. So, but it was so neat because when I debuted, then the whole crowd started chanting, "Who are you? Who are you? Who are you?" And it's one of those rare instances in this business where we were able to pull the wool over the fans' eyes.
Cool. Yeah, man. Well, it sounds like, man, it sounds like I had a hell of a run with just the wrestling alone. And I mean,
dude, it really, like I said, I mean, I don't think anyone's done what I did in the business as fast as I did either, especially being an outsider. Like I was an outsider. I didn't wrestle. I wasn't a family lineage, bloodline, nepotism baby and stuff like that. I came in a different way and I got looked at differently, like by the wrestlers that went through the indie scene, the independents. Oh, he didn't pay his dues to get here. And then other people, oh, you're just here because you're big, yada, yada, yada. Well, like, okay, there's a part of that, but why are you holding that against me with the tools that I've been blessed and not only blessed with, but like, hand forged myself. They don't just give away World Strongest Man trophies to people that
Right.
just walk through the door and be like, oh, I'd like to have one of those.
right. For
So,
sure.
there was a lot of work and process and, and there was also earning the respect. And the thing too, with being so big and so strong in this business, people are afraid as well. Are you going to hurt me? Because in the old days, like you get hurt, you don't make any money. Now it's different with the contracts, you get hurt and all this stuff. But the old days, if you didn't hurt, you didn't work, you didn't get paid.
Right.
So these guys in the tenured vets were always nervous, especially what's called green, is getting in there with a green giant, especially one that has a world strongest man athletic background, but knowing like, oh man, if this guy does something wrong, he'd hurt me or kill me.
Yeah.
I got to go to work tomorrow. I got to feed my family. And I take super pride on that. I never injured anyone. I busted one guy's eyebrow up in my entire career. Otherwise, I've never hurt anyone in my entire career. And that's like a very big feather in my cap that I could wear because it didn't work that way for me. Like I'm banged up because people hurt me.
Yeah, I bet.
And stuff like that.
And you say hurt, man, we're not talking about just spraining a pinky. I mean, on your level,
talking like
you can get paralyzed.
We're talking, my head's held on with a metal plate and 4 screws. I have a level 1 fusion, my C4 and 5, my L5 S1 disc is removed and it has a natural fusion. My teeth are fake. My elbow's been worked on twice. My knees have been in. My left leg's 15% paralyzed. So I had, when I ruptured my L5 S1, it cut into my sciatic nerve or pinched my sciatic nerve and it paralyzed my whole left leg. So I got rushed. Yeah, this was before I was ever even on TV. I did this in 2015. Dr. Moline, he's retired now, but was the head like neurosurgeon at University of Pittsburgh, and he was the head of our medical at the time. He got me in at like 5 o'clock in the morning on a Sunday for an emergency surgery, 100% paralyzed leg. An hour after I came to, I was able to stand up and walk to my recovery.
Wow.
But I never got 100% use of my leg back. I had 15% atrophy my entire career and still do to this day.
And these were injuries solely from wrestling?
I think some of it might have lingered, the low back might have lingered around some from the strongman stuff, but just some untimely and I think ill coached at the time because I'm too silly, to say no to anything. And I'm also like, oh, you don't think I could do that? Hold my beer, watch this. The redneck famous last words, hey, y'all, watch this.
Right.
And stuff. And just, I ended up just going through some stuff and then having that injury. But WWE, like I said, took great care of me. They sent me every surgery I had. I went to the top, physicians in the country with my elbow surgeons. My neck fusion was down at Andrews Medical in Birmingham, Alabama. And if you had looked that up in their pedigree, anybody who's anybody in professional sports, that's where they've been repaired at and stuff. So I always, give thanks when thanks is due with WWE. And, there's stuff that we don't see eye to eye on that I could, angry about because the business is business when you're at that top of level. But when it came to my health and stuff like that, they always took unbelievable care of me and all the talent and stuff like that. So I always say thank you for that because I could be a lot worse,
Yeah. Well, that's huge, man. I'm glad to hear that. I mean, so guys, they must be, you're just working, right? You're living the dream. You're on, it sounds like it's a pretty grueling tour, right? It's not like
it's the schedule's a lot easier now for the guys and girls and stuff that are doing it as well. So when I first started, got called onto the main roster, we would go out Friday morning, fly out, do a show, and then have up to a 300-mile drive that night after the show. And I was right off the rip with the wife and we were main event every night. So we get out of the building at 11 o'clock. Now we got 300 miles to the next town.
Right.
And then it's finding something to eat, finding a hotel, getting in, trying to get some sleep, and then going to the gym to stay in shape, eat, and then right again Saturday night, wrestle again, get done at 11 o'clock, 300-mile drive. Sunday, either a house show, which is what we are live events where we're only wrestling for the people that are in the building, or we would have a pay-per-view on Sundays, which would be to the whole world. Then another 300-mile drive. Then Monday Night Raw. Then a 300-mile drive. Then Tuesday Night Smackdown. Then fly home, get home Wednesday, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Have Thursday off, right back out again Friday. I did it for 4.5 years straight.
Wow, man. I mean,
yeah, so you talk not only the miles traveling, but it's the miles on the body and stuff. And that's the old saying in wrestling. The only thing that's real in wrestling is the money and the miles.
right. Yeah, because you know what, man? Like, it's one thing to just like crank that one. And you see, I always feel this way about people like musicians or people like you, man, where it's just like, you're not just going and doing a job. You're not just sitting at the desk and it's hard and you're tired. You're performing. Like you gotta be on. You know what I mean? Like you're not just.
And it's not even on in the ring. It's on everywhere in life, especially because everywhere I go, people recognize videotape, camera,
Right.
kids, and I hate that saying, never meet your heroes.
Right.
Like I want everybody that meets me, I want every kid that meets me to go, man, Braun Strowman or Adam Scherr is as cooler than I thought he would be.
Right.
Now, there's moments where I'm a peckerhead and I'm in a bad mood and you catch me on a bad day, but that's humans at the end of the day, you know? I try my best to be positive in every situation. I'm a glass half full guy because I don't know what I did to be here, honestly, but I thank the Lord every single day for the blessings that he gives me because without him, none of this is possible.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. It's wild, right? How it all, and especially like you said, when you got a little time now where it's slowed down and you're out of it, we can go back and reflect on it. And it's almost even something like, you know, not as big of a scale as you, but even just doing like stuff like myself would on like YouTube and stuff or whatever. And it's just like, there's a million reasons why that shouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? Like
Exactly.
It is pretty wild. And for something like you where, like you said, it just happened so fast and blew up. And before you know it, you're traveling all over and wrestling. I mean, you mentioned names like Hulk Hogan and stuff. I mean, those guys were like, you know, they were like the Rolling Stones of wrestling.
Or bigger.
It was massive. I mean,
Yeah.
and
I mean, it's wild really to think about because twice in my life, I got to be around the people that I idolize and watch. When I competed in World's Strongest Man, I got to compete against the guys that I watched on TV as a younger kid or as a teenager later on in life. And I got to compete and got to become friends with them. And then I got to do it again in WWE, and now I'm getting to do it with hosting everything on the menu, getting to travel around the country and eating these food and getting to meet new people and the owners and the chefs. And like, that's what life's about, man. Life's about experiencing. At the end of the day, it don't mean shit when you die, all the cool stuff you got. Yeah, all right, I can talk about my cars and this and that. But when you're laying in that deathbed and you're pondering what you did in life, it's those experiencing those moments that you're going to remember and we're going to mean something.
yeah, absolutely, man. And then with the strongman competition stuff you were doing, I mean, that must have been, how did you get into that? I mean, it sounds like you were always a big guy, always lifting, working out.
It was the meeting the guys at the bar and just happened. So for me, I fell in love with the gym because I wanted to stop getting bullied. I wanted to stop being called fat. And it really, like, to this day, still drives me nuts. I still have that little fat kid inside of me, even though I take my shirt off and I look like the Incredible Hulk in real life half the time and stuff. I still, we still all weigh on those things. And that's something that I've been, struggling with. Even recently, I've been going through some stuff. And it's like, you try to forget about that things, but as men, we're told our whole lives, suck it up, be a man, deal with it, all this other stuff. And it's just like, I use the analogy of like, all right, bottling this stuff up, it's like blowing into a balloon.
Right.
There's room for it, but eventually some bitch is going to pop.
Right.
And so I'm a big mental health advocate as well. Like talking and like, man, that's the biggest thing is like talking about stuff. So many men struggle in silence with these. Everybody's got 10 million things going on inside your head and you don't know how to talk about it because you're afraid because what's somebody going to judge you or they're going to use it against you and all this stuff. And I'm such a big advocate for, man, get it out, talk to somebody, that's it. We're all human beings. And, that's what makes us different than everything else is that when we work together, we're unstoppable.
Right. Yeah, man. No, you're right though. You got to get it out. Right. And I think you're going to blow a gasket eventually. Something's going something's gonna
Yeah,
give. It's gonna catch up, right?
absolutely.
And I would imagine like in like the strongman and this wrestling. I mean, and I'm sure it's probably changed a bit now, but it doesn't sound like the type of hey, hey Adam, you all right, man? Like, is everything okay at home or blah blah, whatever the problems may.
You would think a lot of that, but you find your tribe is like what
Right.
I say with the strongman and stuff like that. There's only a handful of guys that competed at the level that I made it to, and you see the same 10 or 15 guys every competition, so you got to be close with their families and stuff. The wrestling's a little different because it's a little more cutthroat. Everybody wants to be champ, but there's only one belt.
Yeah.
Everybody, so there's a lot of politics involved in it, and not always in a good way. So it's just finding, I was never a politician. My whole life, everything I've ever got was through hard work. The only thing I've ever been given in life is a hard time.
Right.
So, so learning that, because not always hard work doesn't meet, pay off in the end. So it's still, you're at the mercy of the pencil. You're at the end of the day, we all played a part in a play. I showed up every week. I got the script and I went out there and I did the best that I absolutely could. And then it was on to next week.
Yeah. Was the strongman stuff, was that international?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so I competed in Canada and Poland with my two big international competitions that I did. I did USA versus Canada for my first pro show that I finished fourth at, and I did the Giants live. And probably going to butcher it, pronounce it wrong, but it's Kartuzy, Poland, I believe it was. But it was the first time for me ever, going out. I was just redneck from Cheryl's Ford, North Carolina that was, changing tires during the week, and now I'm jumping on an airplane and flying whatever 50,000 miles halfway around the world to pick up giant tires and do all this stuff. And
Yeah. And those Polish guys, correct me if I'm wrong, it's pretty serious business. I mean, they're like, I mean, I've known a couple Polish guys and they were like man mountain, like lift their transmissions up over their head.
That's literally their sport over there.
Yeah.
While strongman's cool in the United States, it's still like one of those shows you see on ESPN, the Ocho or whatever, late at night. We're over there in the UK and all the Northern European countries and stuff like that. Like, it is prominent in their sport. So like, it was really neat.
Wow.
So while I'd competed in the United States and there were some decent crowds and stuff like that, I'd go over there and there's 20,000 people there to watch. And then that's where I realized, like, oh shit, I'm a peacock. Right. I want to spread my feathers and my wings. I want to show off. I want to do all this stuff because the louder the crowd got, the stronger I was. And it was the same thing with wrestling. The louder the crowd was, the dumber shit I would do in the ring.
Well, it sounds like what you were saying before a little bit. Like, I think that's amazing where you can find that, and instead of getting nervous off it or, oh my God, there's 20,000 people here, it becomes
it wasn't easy. It was not easy. That's for sure. Because like I said, going from the neighborhood mechanic, talking to a handful of people to now all of a sudden being under the world's microscope everywhere I go. Oh my God, trying to walk around in these cities overseas and your face is on every corner on a billboard. I pull up in Madison Square Garden and boom, my giant hairy face is on the side of the Madison Square Garden, which is like wild. For real, this to me is like, holy shit, like how did I get all this? But I developed massive social anxiety from where I would have panic attacks because I can't blend in. A lot of the other superstars had the opportunity, throw a hat, sunglasses, hoodie on, and they could get through the crowd. I stick out like 5 sore thumbs.
Right. Yeah. Oh, man. Well, it sounds like once you kind of honed that into becoming an energy source, and maybe you didn't, and it was always something that you struggled with, but it sounded like part of the reason how you got, not only because of your agility and your athleticism, but it sounded like you were a bit of a showman. You were mentioning, like you liked it. You said
I loved it. Like for me, especially, like that's something that lingers in me from that little fat kid that never got any attention, never had a girlfriend, or would talk to girls and they would pretend that they would like me so they could bully me and pick on me, going, "Oh, we don't like you." So like having that all of a sudden, this attention, and then it turned into borderline abusing it, because I had all this, this attention, this ability to walk in, and all the girls loved me everywhere I went, and I never had a girlfriend, and drinks are free everywhere I go, and food's free, and here, this and that, and all of a sudden you get caught up in this bullshit that comes along with it. Like, holy crap, what are you doing, man? This is what got you to the dance.
Right.
Well, why are you falling? And there's so many people that get sucked into that, and some of them never get out.
I bet. Yeah.
They fall into alcoholism, drug addiction, woman addiction or sex addiction, all this other stuff. And it's what I said, like it's such a slippery slope because there's so much at your fingertips. And all of a sudden, you go from this nobody pays attention to everything in a basket being handed to you.
Yeah.
So it's like having this responsibility on top of it, like not overindulging.
Yeah.
And, having to speak to the Lord and, gluttony's a sin and remembering that.
Yeah, it can make or break you for sure. Right?
Yeah, and it breaks a lot. And it broke me at times. It had me in deep, dark holes at a lot of times in life. And that's what I said. Thankfully, having good people around me, to help pull me out of that mud.
Yeah, because you're right. A lot of people don't get out of that. And I'd imagine.
You ever seen any of the Dark Side of the Rings?
Right. Oh, yeah,
the shows on that, and
yeah.
it's awful, and you see that because of that lifestyle. You have all this, and then especially when it's over. Because I've struggled, like I've been fired from WWE twice in the last 5 years, and it's like all of a sudden, boom, you go from here to every weekend you're somewhere else, and now you're sitting at home, and you're like, well, shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
What am I supposed to do now?
Rock star to nobody gives a shit real quick.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how this came about.
Yeah.
When I hurt my neck and had to have my neck fused, I was like, is my wrestling career over?
Right.
Am I going to have a normal life? What is normal going to be anymore? Because when I got hit, both my arms went limp for like 3 seconds in the ring.
You probably thought it was over.
Oh, and I went to take off running. I looked like a weeble wobble trying to run. My balance was off. And then when I got back, every couple of minutes, it would feel like someone would take a pot of boiling water and pour it down my arms, and then my fingers would tingle. And I did like for 3 weeks where I was trying to figure out what's going on. Every so often I would get that feeling. And then I'm got to be very close with Stone Cold Steve Austin. And the injury that ended his career was very similar to this. I didn't know I had stenosis of the spine, so I had already had tight around my spine, and my head got whipped back. And my head whipped back. It pinched my spine. And it shut the nerves down into my arms off, but temporarily, and thankfully came back. And like I said, WWE getting me to the top neurosurgeon, and getting in there, getting it cleaned up and fixed. And you go back and go through my Instagram, there's a video of the surgery. It's not for the faint of heart, because it's literally a scream. You can see them going in there and doing all that. They took marrow out of my hip and packed it all in there. And it was scary, because am I going to be able to do anything anymore? Am I going to, I have a couple godchildren, and hopefully one day have kids myself. Am I be able to pick my kids up? Oh, don't get emotional. Hang on. But yeah, I'm also a big softy, buddy. I'm like an M&M or whatever. I'll melt in your mouth, not in your hand, and have a nice gooey center. That sounded terrible. But yeah, just like sitting around realizing, like, man, like my normal life might be over. So we're thinking with ideas, and my agent and a good friend of mine, Kevin, who's actually the producer of the show, we're throwing ideas at the wall, trying to figure out, well, what can I do? Because like, I realized at one point in my life, I've been blessed from not only like the physical attributes that I have, but there's something inside of me that has made me really good at putting smiles on people's faces. And I love doing it. And it's like, how can I continue to do this if I can't do what I've been doing for the last, 10 years of my life? I can't do strongman anymore. My body can't handle this anymore. If I can't wrestle anymore, what am I going to do? A couple of times we went out to eat with my agent. One time we were ordering, I ordered like 4 entrees, and the waiter went to walk over. He's like, whoa, we're not done yet. And he started worrying. They were like looking at me. We were talking on the phone one day about us stuff. They were kind of joshing around or giving me a hard time about it. Because my thing is like, with traveling with WWE, I got to sample all this different cuisine, all these different walks of life. And it's, going to these restaurants in wherever, Singapore, Thailand, Japan. It's like, I might not ever be here again. So like, let me try at least a couple of things of different dishes and all this other stuff, because you're looking at everything. It looks awesome. And then I've learned to love that. And it's one of my favorite things to do, is take people out to eat and get them to try new experiences, try new foods, step outside of the realm of what they normally eat. Because for me, food is, brings people together, brings you to the table, have conversation. You can fall in love with someone. You can rekindle a relationship. You can catch up with your family. And it's about the experience. So they're giving me a hard time about, he orders 2-3 entrees when he goes out to eat. And I was like, yeah, half the time when I go out, I'm looking at these menus and I can't make up my mind what I want to eat. I wish I could order everything on the menu. And they go, hang on a second.
Right.
And we were like, what? And we talked about it. So we ended up, shooting a pilot episode at a place in Kewauskom, Wisconsin called the Great Outdoors Supper Club.
All right.
They have a 96-ounce prime rib on the menu as an ode to the great outdoors with John Candy. So we shot this little 2-minute pilot episode where I ordered everything on the menu. I'm interacting with the people and the locals in the kitchen cooking, having fun. And we started pitching it out to see if anybody would be interested in buying it. A couple different streaming services came about. They were interested. And then lo and behold, it made it across the desk at USA Network. And someone there saw it, Val Borland, she saw it and fell in love with it and took a shot on me. And boy, I think she took the right one, because we are crushing it right now. We're the #2 viewed show on USA Network through all that demos and all that stuff. And the response has been, to say amazing is an understatement. I'm absolutely blown away. In a matter of three weeks or 4 weeks that we're at right now, when I'm walking around in public and I don't get, hey, you're Braun Strowman, the WWE superstar. I get, hey, you're the guy that eats everything on the menu. And it's showing. It's so cool to see, like, now again in life, that I have something else that people recognize before. And it's the ability again that I'm able to be on that screen and put smiles on their faces, because the whole world has seen Braun Strowman. They know my wrestling character. I don't say the whole world, but a lot of people do. And they've seen this character that I've played for the last decade on it. This is the first time that I've had a massive platform where I get to be myself. So everyone gets to see Adam Scherr, the man behind the monster. And I really think that's what sold this show. And I think what's connecting with the fans, because I just want to have fun. I'm in there, bombarding on people while they're eating dinner, and, having me come walking up and this shadow looming over you. You look up and don't expect. But that's another thing. I'm trying to break a lot of these stereotypes. I'm stereotyped. I get it.
Right.
People look at me and they see fee, fi, fo, fum.
Right.
And while I fee, fi, fo, fum my way through life so far, and I've made a few bucks doing it, I've been pretty good at it. I also I'm pretty articulate, compassionate, I'm smart, I'm educated, I'm loving, I'm caring, and I want to show that side of it, because there's so many meatheads out there, and I love calling myself, because I built this, that, don't get this recognition, because right off the rip, people look at him like, oh, this guy just lifts weights and eats chicken breast and rice, and what does he know? So, being able to do that as well, kind of breaking these stereotypes and showing the world how articulate I am and how much fun I have. And that's what I believe shines through. And then, in all honesty, my production team, the camera guys, are so good at what they did. The food's is the star. The food is the star of the show. I'm just a big goofball that gets to eat it and talk about it, man. And it's been so fun, because we did 8 episodes for the first season. We did Washington, D.C., Orlando, Tampa, New Orleans, Las Vegas, Fort Worth, Chicago, and Milwaukee. And I ate from mom and pop soul food kitchens to 3-star Michelin restaurants and everything else in between. And then every episode I do 2 restaurants. The first restaurant is kind of the signature dish for the city. So all those restaurants we did were 50, 60 years old. Getting in there, having conversation of what went into the process, how they're still open, why are people coming back, like talking to customers that have been eating there their entire lives. And then having the realization that you're taking a bite out of American history when you're eating a hot dog at Ben's Chili Bowl in Washington, D.C. that's been open for 68 years, or like La Segunda Bakery in Tampa, and everywhere else in between. Literally, institutions. There's a spot here in Orlando that's been feeding me since day one when I came down here, then it had 2 nickels to rub together. It's a roast beef place called Beefy King. Like, they've become family to me. Their menu hasn't changed in almost 60 years. And when our episode came out, they added a new sandwich to the menu. They have a monster sandwich on the menu now. And it's been so cool to get to meet and know these people and continue to grow my relationships with them on that side of it. And then the other restaurants, like I said, talking how blessed I was to travel around and get to try different things. Think about how many times you've gone out to eat and you're looking around at people's food's coming out. And man, that looks good. Over there. Wow, that looks good. What are they eating? Now you're looking at the menu, and especially for me, I'm a sensory person because I'm ADD as hell, pictures and all this other stuff. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, God bless, I can't make up my mind what I want to eat on the menu. So I ordered everything on the menu.
Now, are you expected to try it all, or
I try? So at some of the restaurants, I was able to eat everything that they had on their menus, so I'm a big eater. I mean, I'm normally consuming 6,500 to 7,000 calories a day just to keep this meat castle moving. But for that, then some of the restaurants not even close. I made sure to get through every dish so I could talk about it and stuff like that. But some of the restaurants' portions were just, oh my God. And then, which made me happy too, because not only that, I get to take some back to the hotel. Then, I'm feeding, but I'm conning kids like, hey, I'm supposed to eat all this stuff by myself. Don't tell anybody, come help me. And sneaking them in. They think they're So it's fun playing around, and then everybody gets fed at the end too. All the production team, the camera guys, all that stuff, and it's fun, breaking the fourth wall. I'm like feeding the camera guys through the lens, and you see them reaching in it, and it was just it was just a fun show, and I think that's what people are really enjoying because I'm not this educated culinary whiz. I didn't go to school for all this stuff. I've just been blessed to be able to travel around and try different things, and I think it's relating with people because a lot of people, you watch some of these shows and while they're amazing, I don't know what the hell they're talking about half the time.
Right.
So for me, it's like maybe a blue collar approach to describing some of these foods because there's a lot of grunting and groaning and moaning and everything that goes on in that because everybody's taking a bite of something at some point in their life and it's made you close your eyes and just go,
Yeah. Well, I mean, it also sounds like, and I can relate to this a bit too, Adam, but like as much as you like food and and I do too, but it also seems to be as much about the destination to where you're visiting, the restaurant, the people behind it, the lady that's been making the minestrone soup at Maria's for 50 years. You know what I mean? Like the human element is what really is as much as, if not more than what the food is, right?
Absolutely. And it's been so awesome too to shine the light on some of these older restaurants that have been forgotten or all this big corporate stuff and these chains have been built and all around them and things like that and be able to shine this light on them. And, our Orlando episode aired and the next day they had like a 35% increase in customer base just because people saw the show. Like, hey, I saw you on everything on the menu. I had to come and check it out. They had people driving 3-4 hours out of their way to come in and eat the sandwiches and stuff at BP King here. And I've heard the same thing about the other restaurants and stuff like that. And that's what it's really about too. For me, I'm such a family, such a community oriented person. My favorite thing to do with all this, I hate calling myself famous too. And I hate the celebrity status. I think celebrities are buttholes. So I'm just a redneck that had a cool job, man. And it has a cool job. So, being able to, see that and do that. And then the Milwaukee episode that airs this Friday is really, really special because I had to have my family on and stuff like that. So my cousins and aunt and uncles are at one of the restaurants and then my goddaughter's with me at one of the first restaurant we go to. So for me, it's so special to be able to do that. And, because I missed out on a lot of stuff. They've seen me, but they've watched me do a square for the last 10 years. So being able to actually have them with me and be involved in all this crazy blessed life that I have it's really special.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like there must be parts of it that you miss, but it also must feel pretty good to be in this next chapter too.
It does. There's definite aspects of I miss being in the ring and being out there and performing in the art of it. I miss being in the locker room with the boys. A lot of the rest of it I don't miss. Right. It was stressful, but it is what it is. At the same time, I've learned so much with WWE and it's such a blessing of all the things that I learned along the way as a businessman, as a performer, as an entertainer. It's the longest running television show, episodic television show in history. And it's been live 99.9% of the time, minus a little bit through the pandemic. And we had to record some stuff. So, learning and growing in the trial of fire of live performance with no safety net, it's really setting me up for the future of being able to go in and improv at these shows, sit down and do these interviews. Like I would have not been able to do this conversation that we're having right now 15 years ago. I'd be like, oh, well, why do and stuff like that. So, learning along the way and picking up on these different tools and aspects that were presented in front of you.
Yeah. Well, heck yeah, man. And you wrapped up the first season, or is there plans or talks of shooting some more?
Right, but right now we're talks right now, so that's above my pay grade. I just show up and eat and dance and jump when they tell me to jump. My agent and stuff like that, they handle all that stuff. So I know all parties are very happy right now with what it's doing as far as live eyes, playbacks, and stuff like that. So yeah, fingers crossed. Like I said, it's not set in stone, but I'm the king of speaking out loud and manifesting in it. And what I did, which was really, it was the first episode we did in Fort Worth. They didn't show, but I went in and bought a cowboy hat. I was like, I gotta have a cowboy hat to start and go eat barbecue. Well, that was actually the last episode that we filmed in it. And then we were doing it all. I bought everybody on the production team 20X Beaver felt resist all hats. I dropped $5,000 on hats. And I said, boys, I said, here's the first season. You guys are amazing. I said, mark my words, season 10, we're all getting gold Rolexes.
I like it. I like your style. I like where your head's at with manifesting it and putting it out there. I believe that doesn't hurt.
I'm a big believer in that. And you know, you don't get what you don't ask for. So, and the same thing. So like, speak it out loud, and people that are listening to this, talk it out loud. You never know what's going to happen. Talk about it. Especially, as I said, don't bottle it up. Don't bottle up your emotion. Don't bottle up your anger. Don't bottle up your dreams. Talk about them.
Yeah.
Manifest them. Get it out there. Let the world help you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And you know, I'm a tall guy, smaller man compared to some of the folks that you've been rolling with. But you know, I'm 6'4", 240 pounds, and like even that is like, I always say, like, being tall like that is good for what, like getting girls that are in playing basketball or something. But like,
For my mom, it's dusting the top shelves off.
Yeah, stuff like that. But I guess what I'm poking at is it's hard on the body too, man. I mean, it must be, you know, like,
Traveling's not fun. You know, getting in and out of these airplanes and rental cars and some of these hotel rooms overseas, they're borderline closets with a cot on the floor and everything else, you know, and then trying to get, it takes more food for us. It takes more water for us. It takes more oxygen for us. I mean, it's just, it's just the reality. If they always joke around and say that the world's sizes, they don't really care when you're like this. It's just deal with it, figure it out.
Right. Yeah. For
sure.
Yeah. Nothing's off the rack for you.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
oh yeah. No, everything. Yeah. Well, I mean, I wear like these Under Armour shirts. Thankfully, they work pretty good, but otherwise, yeah, anything else is all custom tailored. Shoes are very hard to find. I mean, I wear a size 15 for you, so I got these giant Shrek feet.
Right. All the folks that you wrestled with too. I mean, there must have been some characters, right? I mean,
oh yeah, there's no. I mean, you don't get into borderline phrasing is an understatement to do this stuff. Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, too, like it's a joke that I like to make. It's the coolest job on earth. You get to play fight with your friends in your underwear.
Right. No, it's I mean, it's awesome, man. And like everyone, correct me if I'm wrong, but like everyone's pretty. It's a pretty athletically demanding job, right? There's no. It's
athletically, physically, mentally, spiritually. It's just demanding all around because there's no off season. That's the difference between any other, whether you want to call it a professional sport or whatever you want to call it, even entertainment, on the entertainment side. There is no off season. The only time I had off in 10 years is when I was hurt.
Oh, wow. So wrestling just goes all year?
52 weeks a year, man.
Is that right?
52 weeks a year. And before the schedule's lightened up, and now they only do 1 show, 2 shows a week, and like 1 pay-per-view a month. We did 4 days a week for 5 years, 52 weeks a year.
Just cranking you guys.
Yeah.
But I guess
that's why I always tell people, you wonder why I walk, and there was days when I go to bed, I feel fine, and I wake up the next morning, I'm like, what the is going on with my back?
I was going to say, man, like
wrestling, that's what it is.
And everyone, no one leaves the rink, a career in the wrestling rink without.
You do not leave the same way you went in.
I mean, I loved him, Hulk Hogan, right? But I remember listening to him on a podcast, and like, he was banged up, man. Like all them guys.
Yeah,
and, you know, and
probably 30 plus surgeries over his career.
Oh God, and like there must have been some. I mean, I'm sure, you know, it's like anything else, but like in that on the road, demanding schedule, beating the hell out of your body. I mean, a lot of people must have struggled with like substance abuse, you know, just like pain pills.
Yeah, and I was in the same boat at times. I would take them to the point where, like, all right, doc, like, all right, I know I'm having surgery, but you can't give me these.
Right.
Because I'm going to abuse them.
Right.
And stuff like that. So it got, at least I'm thankful enough that I have people around me that notice that, hey, you're taking a little too much of your medicine. I know you're in pain and stuff, and it makes you a different person. And then having a realization of that with myself, too. So it was just like, all right, no more. So there was multiple surgeries that I went through afterwards, and all this stuff, and I just did it with ice and ibuprofen because I just didn't want it. Because there's a lot of horror stories of that in the past.
Oh yeah,
it took a lot of guys before they should have left this earth because of it and stuff like that, because of that exact thing. And it's it's the mental side of it too. Like we're alone all the time.
Right.
We're in a different hotel every night. You're in a car or you're with the guys and stuff like that. But you're going to bed by yourself. You're waking up by yourself. You eat by yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's what it's the George Strait song hits it the nail on the head. A showman's life.
Right.
They always told me about the girls and the money and the wine and all this other stuff, but they don't tell you about the lonely wife at home, the lonely time when you're by yourself, sitting there contemplating life by yourself. Everyone thinks all this glitz and glam, and while it is great, there's a lot of alone time that people don't realize that we're all battling and stuff like that. And that's why we try to, stay together. We ride together, eat together, and try and do as much. And it becomes your family.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because you have to, because isolation and all this other stuff on top of being banged up and everything else in between, like it eventually it chips at you, it wears on the mind. And then you start thinking, maybe this would be easier if I went to bed and I didn't wake up tomorrow.
Sure.
That's no way to live. Nobody should think like that. There's no reason for anyone to think like that. And I'm such an advocate for that, man. Like you feel like that, talk to somebody.
Yeah. No, it's
big time, man.
It's so true. And it's amazing how much of a difference you can make with just opening it up, whether you're the one going through something or even just like calling up a friend or someone and just checking in on them,
Yeah. That's all I call it, brother checks, man.
Yeah.
If I don't hear from somebody in a while, it's either a text or a call. You good?
Yeah.
Need to talk? I'm here.
Oh, that's huge.
It can be, it's huge because I've had people when I've been sitting around contemplating life and all this stuff, and that one little text, hey man, I heard from you in a while. I'm good.
It's amazing how just a little gesture like that
it goes a long ways.
Well, it can turn, from dark to light, it can really kind of flip the switch.
Or the one for me, like, or when I respond, no. And you get back. Yeah. I believe in you. You got this.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
goes a long way. It goes a long, long way. Check on your people.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what I tell everybody. Check on your people.
Yeah. I think if there was one takeaway.
Protect your tribe. Check on your tribe, man.
Yeah. It's not nothing, man. That's a beautiful thing, man. And I'm stoked for the show, and I hope that it, I've seen a couple episodes. I saw the first episode now, that I did watch, but I'm stoked that you guys hopefully can figure it out and shoot some more, because it sounds like the folks are really liking it, and more importantly, and as importantly, it seems like a really good thing for you too, man. Which is
it's been very, because it was hard, having that rug get ripped out from under my feet twice, and I get it. It's corporate level business. I mean, that's over my head. Whenever the money and this and that, they make the decision, but it's still like, wow, like this is my life's work, my career, and it's just like, what the fuck am I going to do?
Yeah.
And thankfully, I found it.
Yeah, heck yeah, man. Growing up, I mean, were you always into food? Were you always a food guy, or?
Yeah, so always as much as I could. Like we didn't have a whole lot growing up and things like that, but we never went without food and stuff. So I learned a lot being blessed, as both my mom and dad were great cooks.
Cool.
And to this day, hopefully I never end up on death row. But if I was on death row, my dying meal would be my mom's cube steak and mashed potatoes with frozen corn.
Heck yeah.
And still to this day, because like I said, I've been so blessed, and my mom's like, I don't know what to get the man that has everything for Christmas. I said, all I want you cooking, Mama.
Oh yeah, that sounds great, man. You could eat a wheelbarrow full of that, huh?
Oh yeah, I have.
I love it, man. Well, what else you got going? So the show now, it's on USA. Folks can check it out.
Show's on USA. Yeah, Friday nights at 10 o'clock, following WWE Friday Night Smackdown. The other big thing I've been working on my retirement project is my tequila brand, Quintaliza Tequila. We're 100% organic blue weather agave. Ileana Partida does our distillery in Chiapas, Mexico. She's third or fourth generation master distiller. So they distill it to a reposado in Mexico. Then we import it to our warehouses in Stewart. Then I age it for 2 months in old whiskey barrels. And then we age it for 3 months at aged nitro brewed coffee in it.
Oh, cool.
So it's really unique in its flavors and profiles. It comes out really dark caramel color when you see it. Initially, when you drink it, you get hit with that smoke and you think you're drinking a whiskey, but then that real sweet reposado comes on, and then it finishes with this real nice, subtle coffee and dark chocolate notes.
Wow.
So that's been the thing. We're in Florida, Georgia, South Carolina, Tennessee, New Jersey. You can order it anywhere offline. Have it shipped to your house, 21 years or older. Now my big push is getting into restaurants. We just got it into the Rocco's Tacos here. They do frozen espresso martinis with our tequila.
Cool, man.
One of my favorite steakhouses just picked it up this past week, so we went out and celebrated. Went in there and I had a 60-ounce porterhouse for celebrating for outdrawing everything. Outdrew Triple D, outdrew Bobby Flay, outdrew NXT, which is one of WWE's shows. I outdrew AEW, which is the other wrestling competition. I outdrew Cena's new show that just aired this week. So we went out to celebrate. Sometimes I like to pat myself on my back. I try not to too much because I try to be a humble man, but there's certain times when, damn it, I've worked so hard at this. It's time to celebrate.
Hey, man, there's nothing wrong with that, Adam. And I do believe you can celebrate your ass off and still be very humble. There's two ways to celebrate. You could be an asshole, or you can just be someone who's celebrating.
And that's why I did a post the other day, man. I got to come on here and brag.
Right.
I said, but I ain't bragging about myself. I'm bragging about all of y'all that have tuned in to watch my show, because without y'all, but that's with everything with what I've done. Without the fans and the people that tune in every week religiously to watch WWE, there is no Braun Strowman.
That's it, man.
And now everybody that tunes in every week that watches this, there is no Everything on the Menu without y'all. So again, everybody that's going to be listening to this and watching my show, thank y'all. Y'all are the true stars.
Oh man, I couldn't have said it better myself. And what was the name of the tequila one more time for folks interested?
Kimtaliza. We'll get you. I'll make sure we'll have a care package sent to you.
Oh man, I'd love to try it out. Big agave spirit fan myself.
And I didn't realize I was either, and I've turned into a little bit of a snob now when I go, because it's like, all right, what's your organic tequilas? Because I realized, like, wow, like when I drink some of these other brands that we're not going to say, they make me feel like shit.
Yeah,
I could drink 5 or 6 Quintalizas, not driving Uber or whatever designated driver to take me home. Wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning, like nothing happened. Go do my cardio and just on with the day.
Right. Yeah, once you get a taste of the good stuff, it's hard to go back, man.
And the cool thing is too, is like you look at a lot of the price points on these organic tequilas, and they're $100+ a bottle. We're a $69 bottle price point.
Oh wow, great.
We have a regular strength that's a 40% alcohol, and we do a cask strength that's a 45% alcohol. And the 45 is honestly my favorite to put on the ice and just let it melt just down a little bit.
Oh yeah,
'cause then it really brings out all the different layers and the profiles and the juice. That's why I tell everybody my job is to get the juice to your lips. The juice does its job.
That's it, man. Well, I got another hour left before but you're making me want to drink here, Adam. That sounds kind of nice.
I know. That's what I said. I'm the team. I got to eat though, but I know a group. I got some friends in town right now, and we're going to go out tonight and have a little sushi. And then we got another little bar that just picked up the tequila as well. So I'm going to take them over there as a thank you to support on my brand and stuff like that. And have a few libations tonight.
Yeah, I think that's in order, man. Heck yeah. Well, Adam, thank you a bunch for joining, and looking forward to checking out the rest of the episodes on the show. For all of you guys listening, go check it out. It's called or Everything on the Menu. Before I forget, I always forget to ask a couple questions. It's a little thing I literally forget every time. So I named it before I forget.
Trust me, I'm the king of forgetting stuff. I got hit in the head for a living for a decade.
So one of them you already asked, unfortunately, and it was a great answer. But one question I always ask people, it's usually the last question, is it the last meal? All right, the game's up, the jig's up, but you nailed that one already. Pro wrestling, who in your career that you met and worked with, not in the ring necessarily, but overall, who was like the toughest, like you wouldn't want to mess with, or was there one? Brock?
Yeah.
Just a savage.
Brock, he's one of the most dangerous human beings to ever walk the face of this earth.
I feel like you could hit that guy in the face with a 2x4. Like,
go back and watch Royal Rumble 2018 when him and I get into it for real in the ring.
Yeah, huh?
There's a slow-mo of him overhanding, riding me, and my skull moves and my skin catches up with it. Because I kneed him in the face and caught him pretty good. And we slugged it out a little bit and then realized, well, we're not in the octagon. Let's get back to doing what we're supposed to be doing.
That's right, because he did go on to have a pretty successful fight.
National collegiate champ wrestling, multiple WWE champion, and toured, the UFC heavyweight champion.
Oh, he's an absolute
pretty good pedigree.
Absolute weapon.
Yeah, literally. I mean, he's 6'3", 6'4", and 300 pounds, and moves like he's 180 pounds.
Oh my God, he's
And there's a lot of bad SRBs, man.
I'm
Like
sure.
Chad Gable's another one. Chaz Betch, one of my very close friends, finished 6th in the Olympics. He's a little bit smaller of a dude, but like he's not to be with.
That's what I always get blown away with too. Is like not only you like some of you guys like big and it's kind of like NFL linemen too, but like the agility and the speed is just it's absolutely terrifying.
Well, I would say that's what I said. I love bragging on Chad too because he's such a great guy. WrestleMania a couple years ago, we had this multi-man match, and he hit me with his finish, and it's called a chaos theory. It's a roll. You roll through, and he did a back roll and roll through German suplex me. It's you know, like I said, he is unbelievably talented. What he does, straight, and one of the most disciplined human beings I've ever met in my life. Like he walks around at like 6% body fat all the time, like just shredded to the gills, so strong. But what a humble, unbelievable father, family man, and just ambassador for anything that he does.
But just psycho in the zone.
But will rip you in half and shit down your neck.
Yeah. Oh my God, it's terrifying. When you were doing the strongman competitions, was there something? Because like I always see like one that sticks out in my head is you see those guys like carrying like it's like this big like granite sphere. Was there
the Husabel stone?
Was there something that, and maybe this is a bad question, but is there something that you remember being like the hardest thing to lift?
For me, it was the overhead pressing stuff. Like I have this moniker tattooed on me, Country Strong. That's like farmer strong. All the moving events or carrying weird stuff, I just was naturally good at because that's all I ever did in my life. I wasn't allowed to lift weights. I was like, oh, Dad, I want to lift weights. So he's like, okay, go move the wood pile from there to there. Right. Or go split all this wood. Or go carry 5-gallon buckets of water up from the lake and water the garden.
Right.
So it was like, you're not going to waste your time and energy just lifting weights in the shed. You're going to do something purposeful. But for me, it was learning how to overhead press and stuff like that. And so, but it took time, and it was just wild too. And I was still a good overhead presser. I had a 400 plus pound log, and I did 475 on an action clean press. But at pro level, that's average.
Jesus.
When you talk about guys that are pressing 500 plus pounds over their head and stuff like that, it's wild.
Lifting 400 pounds over your head.
Yeah.
God.
From the ground, clean it up and then press it over your head. Like getting ready for the Arnold Classic in 2012. I knew one of the events was a giant circus dumbbell. So it's a giant dumbbell. It has a 3-inch handle, and then the bells are 13 inches on each side of it. You can clean it. You can clean it with 2 hands to your shoulder, but then you got to press it with one over your head. It was 275 pounds was the weight.
Man, people must get hurt all the time.
Big time, yeah. There's a lot of bicep tears, back injuries and stuff in the strongman, yeah.
Oh, I bet, man. Good gosh. And I guess maybe that's it for the questions. I mean, I could go on all day asking you stuff about that because it's just fascinating. But for the sake of time and everyone listening, Adam, thank you again, man, and we'll chat soon.
Cheers, my friend. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
This episode was produced by Brad Leone and Carolyn Gagnon in partnership with Studio 71. It was edited by Kate Brunotz with music by Harrison Benson.